The alien ship floated in the cold silence of deep space. It was old, damaged, and alone. Its lights were dim, and its engines had stopped working days ago. Inside, the air was getting thin. The crew moved slowly, saving energy, trying not to breathe too hard. Captain Raylor stood near the front window, staring at the empty stars. He was a tall being with silver skin and tired eyes. His people, the Varine, were peaceful explorers. They had crossed galaxies to study stars, planets, and life. But now, they were the ones in danger, forgotten in the dark. "We've sent over 50 distress calls," said Second Officer Linya. Her voice was weak. "No one is coming. We're too far from the core systems." Raylor didn't answer. He already knew. They were too deep into the outer void. A dead zone with no trade, no traffic, and no support. The Varine Empire was busy with a border war, and most alliances had broken long ago. To everyone else, this ship was just another dot in space, not worth saving. "Main life support will fail in 36 hours, said the ship's AI in a flat voice. The crew said nothing. Every hour, someone fainted from low oxygen. Every day, the systems lost more power. Soon, the heaters would stop too. Cold death waited just outside the metal walls. Raylor looked at his crew, 8 scientists, 1 medic, 2 engineers. They had come here for peace, to study a dying star. Now they were dying too. Then, something strange happened. "Captain," said Linya, suddenly alert. "We're picking up a signal." Raylor turned quickly. "From where?" "Unknown direction," she replied, tapping the controls. It's not in our records. Not Varine. Not any known species." They all stared at the screen. A soft repeating sound played through the speakers. The pattern was clear. It was a language. Not theirs, but one some of them had studied long ago in history files. "Human," whispered Engineer Doral. "That's Earth Standard Code." Raylor frowned. "That's not possible. Humans left this part of the galaxy over 100 cycles ago. No one has seen them since." But the signal continued. It repeated a short message every 30 seconds. It was simple, strong, clear. "Hold on. Help is coming." Silence followed. Then the message repeated. The crew stared at each other. Some were scared. Others were confused. "Could it be a trap?" asked Linya. "A pirate trick?" Raylor shook his head slowly. "No pirate would use old human code. No one even speaks it anymore." Then another alert came. "Object detected," said the AI. "Speed, extreme. Class, unknown. Heading directly toward this ship." The crew rushed to the viewing screen. A dark shape was moving fast through the void. It was small, maybe half the size of their ship, but it was closing distance fast. Too fast. No known ship could move like that. Not without bending space in ways only the ancient races had done. "What kind of engine is that?" whispered Doral. "It's not warping. It's sliding through space." The alien ship's sensors tried to scan it, but failed. No data. No heat. No ID tags. Just motion. "Should we power up defense systems?" asked Linya. Raylor looked at the dying lights around him. "We have no weapons left. No shields. All we have is hope." The object stopped just outside their ship. It hovered silently, like a ghost. The crew waited, breath held, hearts racing. Then the same message played again, this time louder, stronger. "Hold on. Help is coming." "Message source confirmed," said the AI. "The unknown object is broadcasting it." Raylor felt something he hadn't felt in days, a spark of life inside his chest. "Open comms," he ordered. "Send back a reply. Any language we can." Linya nodded and started typing. But before they could send anything, another sound came through the speakers, a human voice. Deep, calm, confident. "This is Captain Juno of the Earth Ship Warden. Your signal was received. I am here to assist. Stay calm. Boarding in 10 minutes. The voice ended. Everyone on the alien ship stood still, stunned. Juno? Earth ship. Warden? Linya whispered, humans are real. Relor looked again at the black ship outside. It had no markings, no flags, just a strange glow around it. And yet it had come when no one else had. It had answered a call that others ignored. Prepare for arrival, Relor said softly. Outside the window, the strange ship slowly turned. A small hatch opened. A boarding tube extended toward their airlock. Captain Relor closed his eyes and whispered, maybe we are not alone after all. The alien crew waited by the airlock. Every eye was fixed on the sealed door. No one spoke. No one moved. The ship was silent, except for the quiet hum of the docking tube from the human ship. Inside the Varine ship, the air was thin and the temperature was falling fast. The lights flickered as power continued to drain. But no one cared right now. All that mattered was the human ship outside, and the voice that had promised help. Suddenly, a green light blinked on the door. Docking complete, said the air. Everyone stepped back. The door opened slowly with a hiss. A tall figure stepped inside. He wore a black suit, shiny, armored, and smooth like it was part of his body. A helmet covered his face, with a single red light where the eyes should be. On his chest, one small symbol glowed, a white star with 3 silver lines around it. He took one step forward, then stopped. The crew stared. No one had seen a human in over 100 years. Many thought they were extinct, or hiding, or maybe just myths. Yet now one stood before them. The figure lifted a hand and tapped the side of his helmet. The mask opened with a hiss, folding back. A human face appeared, calm, strong, and serious. His eyes were sharp and gray, his skin pale from space travel. I'm Captain Juno, he said. I came as fast as I could. Captain Relor stepped forward, his voice weak. You're human. Juno nodded. Yes. And I know your ship. Varine-class science vessel. You've been stranded for 12 days. Low power. Failing life support. How do you know this? Asked Linya. Juno looked at a small device on his wrist. I scanned your ship while approaching. I also received your old distress signal through deep band space. Most species don't listen to that frequency anymore. But we do. Relor frowned. Why would humans be listening? Juno gave a small smile. Because we never stopped watching. That answer raised more questions, but there was no time. First, let me stabilize your ship, Juno said. He pulled out a round metal device from a side pocket. It floated into the air and began glowing. Soft blue light spread through the room. The air grew warmer. The lights became steady. Portable core field, Juno explained. It will feed your systems for now. The crew gasped. None of them had seen such tech before. That's more advanced than anything we've ever used, whispered Doril. Juno gave no answer. He moved quickly, scanning systems, checking vitals, and handing out oxygen masks from his pack. Your medic is unconscious, he said. Let me handle it. He walked over to the injured medic and used a small tool on his chest. The medic woke up, coughing, then breathing normally. Relor watched in silence. Every move Juno made was calm, skilled, and fast. Why? Relor finally asked. Why help us? No one else did. Not even our own people. Juno stood straight and looked around. Because we remember what it's like to be abandoned. Long ago, humans were also stranded out here. We know what it means to be forgotten. He paused, then added, but we came back. Linya stepped forward. We thought humans were gone, lost after the Great Retreat. We never left, Juno said. We just moved in silence, grew stronger, watched the galaxy fall into war and greed. We chose not to join, but we never stopped caring. He looked at the dying systems. You're lucky your signal reached us. Most don't. We only answer the ones that truly matter. Relor nodded. Then we owe you our lives. Juno didn't reply. Instead, he looked out the window at the stars. Then he spoke in a quiet voice. You're not safe yet. I picked up another signal behind me. A pirate group. They followed the same trail I did. They'll be here in less than an hour. The crew froze. We have no weapons, Linya said. I know, said Juno. But I do. He turned and walked back to the airlock. Wait, Raylor called. You're leaving. Juno smiled slightly. Just going back to prepare. He looked at them one more time. Stay inside. Lock down the ship. Do not interfere. He stepped into the docking tube and vanished. The hatch closed behind him. Silence returned. But this time, it was different. It wasn't the silence of death. It was the silence before something powerful. Something human. Out in the dark, the unknown ship turned. Its engines powered up, silent, smooth, deadly. The galaxy had forgotten humans. But now, one of them had returned. And he was not alone. Captain Raylor stood near the window, staring into the blackness of space. The stars were quiet. The human, Juno, had returned to his ship. Now, the alien crew waited in silence. Linya checked the ship's systems. Life support is stable. Power holding. But for how long? Whispered Doril. He said pirates are coming. Raylor nodded. Soon. Everyone was nervous. The Varine were a science crew, not soldiers. They had no weapons, no defense systems. They had only one hope now, the human ship outside. No one knew what it could do. No one even knew what kind of weapons humans use now. They only knew the stories. Old stories. Dark stories. Whispers about humans who disappeared into deep space and returned stronger, smarter, different. Some said the humans created ships that moved without sound. Others said their weapons could tear planets in half. But no one believed those stories. Until now. In the blackness of space, something moved. Tiny dots of red appeared on the radar. 5 ships. Fast, silent, closing in. Pirates, said Linya, her voice shaking. They're here. The Virene ship had no shields. No missiles. Nothing. Raylor sent a message to the human ship. They've arrived. We are preparing to surrender. The reply came instantly. No. Stay silent. Do not respond. Do not open comms. Let them think you're already dead. Raylor looked confused. Dead. Before he could ask more, the radar blinked. One of the pirate ships suddenly exploded into fire. What was that? Doril shouted. Outside, in the dark, something flickered. A fast blur of motion. The second pirate ship turned sharply, trying to escape. Too late. A beam of blue light sliced through it. No sound in space, but the light was blinding. The second ship cracked and shattered. The crew of the Virene ship gasped. It wasn't a missile. It wasn't a laser. It was something else. A weapon none of them had seen before. The human ship moved like a shadow. 1 second visible, the next gone. Where is it? Linya asked, eyes wide. I can't track it on the radar. Raylor stared at the screen. It's cloaked. It hides between sensor frames. I've never seen tech like this. 2 more pirate ships broke formation. One fired wildly into the dark. Bright blasts filled the area. But they hit nothing. Then, one by one, the remaining ships went silent. No explosions this time. Just darkness. The radar showed nothing now. Only silence. Only stars. Minutes passed. Raylor and his crew sat frozen, staring at the screen. Then the human's voice came back through the comm. It's over. They won't bother you again. Raylor stood slowly. You destroyed them. All of them. Juno replied calmly. I stopped a threat. That's all. Doril whispered. He makes it sound so easy. Relor leaned closer to the screen. "What kind of ship do you fly?" Juno replied, "A Mark 7 Phantom class, built by humans for deep space conflict. You won't find it in any records." Linya looked confused. "Phantom class? There's no record of that. Not even in black market files." "Exactly," Juno answered. There was silence for a moment. Then Juno's tone changed. "You are safe now, but I can't stay long." Relor asked, "Why not? We could use your help to reach the nearest station." Juno paused. "There are others out here. Others like you. Stranded. Dying. Forgotten. I need to keep moving." "But no one else comes," said Relor. "Why do you?" Another pause. Then Juno said softly, "Because we remember what it felt like when no one came for us." The screen went dark. Outside, the human ship turned away. Its engines glowed softly, then vanished into the stars, silent and fast. The crew stood in silence. "He saved us," said Linya, and then just left. Relor nodded. "He doesn't want praise. He doesn't want attention." Doral whispered, "He just wants to help." For the first time in many days, the crew of the Vyrene ship felt something they had not felt in a long time. Hope. Not just because they were alive, but because they had seen something no one believed anymore. Humans were still out there, and they hadn't forgotten. 3 days had passed since the human ship vanished into the stars. Inside the Vyrene science vessel, the crew worked hard to repair their systems. Lights flickered back to life. Power slowly returned. Oxygen levels were stable now. But even with safety restored, no one could forget what had happened. They talked about it in whispers, about the ship that moved like a ghost. "He didn't leave a name," Linya said, checking power lines. "Just Juno." "Not even a fleet code," Doral added. "No origin, no registration, nothing. That ship isn't in any known database." Captain Relor stood silently near the observation deck, his eyes fixed on the stars. "We've studied every known species, every recorded ship class, but what we saw doesn't match anything." Linya tapped her datapad. "I've scanned the attack logs. The weapons he used, no known frequency, no heat signature. It was like the energy passed through dimensions." Doral frowned. "That's impossible." Relor turned slowly. "So was what we saw." Outside, space looked calm again, peaceful. But that peace felt fake now. Something had changed. They had seen something no one was meant to see. That night cycle, as most of the crew rested, Relor sat alone in the control room. The comm screen flashed once, then stopped. He leaned forward. Another flash. This time, longer. It wasn't random. Relor tapped the screen. A message appeared. "Do not report what you saw. Some things are not ready for the galaxy." His blood ran cold. It was not signed. No sender ID. Just those words. He saved the message but said nothing to the others. The next day, a long-range signal reached the ship. It came from a nearby outpost, a minor trade station known as Harbor 9. Finally, someone had received their distress call. "We are sending a recovery team," said the outpost voice. "Estimated arrival, 14 hours. The crew cheered. But Raylor's face stayed serious. Something felt off. He had a feeling the signal was too perfect, too clean. Hours passed. As the Vyrene crew prepared for pickup, Linya ran a scan of the area. Her face turned pale. "Captain, I think we're being washed." Relor turned. "What?" "There's a faint signal. Shadow class cloaking." "I almost missed it." Relor checked the data. "It's not the human ship." Linya shook her head. "Different energy. This is something else." Doral joined them. Could it be another pirate group? Relor studied the readout. "No, this ship, it's just sitting there, watching." Then the comms crackled. An unfamiliar voice came through, sharp and cold. This is Imperial Scout Vessel R-92. You are ordered to transmit full logs of your recent contact with the unknown ship. Relor replied, under whose command? By authority of the Galactic Security Division. Dortal whispered, they heard what happened. Relor stayed calm. We are a science vessel. We were under attack. We were rescued. That's all. The voice returned, harder now. We know what you saw. Transmit the data, now. Relor looked at his crew, then back at the screen. No. A long silence followed. Then the voice returned. You've made a mistake. The cloaked ship decloaked on radar. It was big, twice the size of the Varine vessel. Black armor, sharp angles, and full weapon systems armed. Linya shouted, they're locking weapons. Dortal panicked. We're not even fully repaired. We can't run. Relor opened the emergency beacon, broadcasting distress now. Suddenly, every screen on the ship turned black. The lights dimmed. A strange sound echoed through the ship, like a low hum vibrating through metal. Then, a voice. Stand down. It wasn't the scout ship. It was him. Juno. The human had returned. The black scout ship froze. Linya gasped. He jammed their systems, without even firing. Outside, something moved in the shadows of space. The Phantom-class ship appeared again, silent, sleek, glowing faint blue under the stars. Juno's voice echoed once more. These beings are under my protection. Leave now. Final warning. For a moment, no one moved. Then the scout ship powered down weapons and slowly turned away. It jumped to hyperspace without another word. The screens on the Varine ship came back to life. Juno spoke calmly. They will not bother you again. Relor finally found his voice. Why did you return? Juno replied, because I was watching. You were never alone. Then, once again, he was gone. The phantom ship blinked out of sight. Linya whispered, is he even real? Relor smiled slightly. He is now a whisper in the stars, and those who whisper his name will remember hope. The days after the scout ship left were tense. The Varine crew moved quickly, repairing their systems and making sure they were ready to leave the dangerous sector of space. But even with the threat gone, something lingered, a feeling of uncertainty. Relor stood in the command center, staring at the star map. He had spent hours studying every route, every possible destination. But every time his eyes passed over certain sectors, his mind returned to the same question. Who was Juno? Why had he come to their rescue? What did he want? And most importantly, what was the true power behind the human ships? The communication system suddenly beeped. It was an encrypted message, no sender. Relor's heart skipped a beat. He opened it. The message was short, but chilling. You will be tested. The galaxy is not ready for what is coming. We cannot stop them alone. Prepare. Relor felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The message didn't make sense. It was a warning, but there was no explanation, no sign-off, just the words that echoed in his mind. We cannot stop them alone. Linya was the first to notice his troubled expression. Captain, what's wrong? Relor glanced at her. I don't know, but I feel like something is coming, something bigger than we can handle. Dortal walked into the room, his face pale. Captain, the sensors are picking up something strange, something huge, moving at high speed. Relor turned, eyes narrowing. How huge? Massive, Dortal said. It's not a ship we've seen before. It's cloaked, but it's making a lot of energy spikes. Linya quickly ran a scan. It's coming straight for us. It's too fast. Nothing in the records can match it. Relor's heart raced. Is it the same as the phantom ship? No, Linya replied, her voice tight. This is much bigger. It's not even using the same kind of energy. Relor took a deep breath. We need to prepare for the worst. The crew scrambled to make the Varine ship ready. But as they worked, the shadow of the mysterious ship grew closer. Linnea and Doral stood near the radar, watching the approaching object on the screen. "It's almost here. We can't outrun it," Doral said, fear creeping into his voice. Relor walked toward them. "We won't run. We faced worse." Then the lights flickered. The hum in the ship grew louder. Suddenly, the cloaked ship decloaked, revealing its true size and power. The ship was massive, easily 5 times the size of the Varine vessel. Its sleek black hull was nearly invisible in the darkness of space. It didn't look like anything the Varine had ever encountered. And it wasn't alone. Around it, other ships appeared, shapes that seemed to blur in and out of sight. There were hundreds of them. Linnea gasped. What are they?" Relor's voice was low, filled with dread. "I don't know, but we need to get out of here." Before he could finish the sentence, a deep voice filled the comm system. "You have been warned." Relor froze. It was the same voice from before, the voice of Juno. Then the massive ship fired. A bright beam of energy shot out, slamming into the lidship of the mysterious fleet. The other ships scattered in all directions, but they didn't move fast enough. The beam sliced through their hulls, disintegrating them in seconds. Relor's eyes widened. This is impossible." The fleet vanished into the darkness. Only the massive phantom ship remained. It hovered in front of the Varine vessel. Relor quickly ordered the crew to raise shields, but it was too late. A soft, glowing figure appeared on the screen. It was Juno. "Do not be afraid. We are here to help." Relor's heart pounded. "Help? Who are you?" Juno's voice came again, calm but firm. "We are not just humans. We are the first, the ones who have learned the true cost of war. These enemies you face, these shadows, they are from another time, an ancient race, hidden from the galaxy. They have returned." Linnea spoke up, her voice shaky. "What do they want?" "Power," Juno said. "They have come to conquer, to wipe out anyone who stands in their way. But we will stop them, together." Relor glanced at his crew. This was beyond anything they had faced before. He could feel it in his bones. Juno continued, "The fleet that attacked you, it is not the only one. There are many. They will come for every species in this galaxy. But we have something they do not." Relor's heart beat faster. "What is that?" "Us. We are the last line of defense. And we will fight." The screen flickered as the human ship's weapons powered up. Relor watched in awe as the phantom ship's systems glowed brighter than before. Then, as the ship moved to join the fray, Juno said one final thing. "This is only the beginning." The crew stood still, staring at the vast space outside. The galaxy they knew was about to change. Forever. The war had begun. Relor and his crew stood in the command center, staring at the enormous fleet of mysterious ships now circling the Varine vessel. The once peaceful stars now felt like a battlefield. No longer was space a quiet place to explore. It was a dark, dangerous frontier. The communication screen blinked, showing the calm face of Juno. "They are called the Tattler," Juno explained. "An ancient enemy, hidden in the void for millennia. They are relentless, and they will stop at nothing to claim the galaxy for themselves." Relor's hands gripped the console. He had seen many threats, but this was different. These enemies weren't like anything the Varine or any other species had encountered. And now, they were fighting alongside Juno and the mysterious human fleet. "We're not alone in this fight," Juno's voice continued. "There are others, those who understand the threat. But we need more time to prepare." Relor turned to Linnea. "How much time do we have?" She shook her head. "Not much. The Salar ships are moving fast. They've already wiped out a dozen colonies in the last few weeks." Doral, standing nearby, added, "They're not just killing. They're erasing entire worlds, entire histories." Relor's eyes darkened. So, what do we do? Juno's image on the screen flickered. We fight. But we fight smart. The Xelor are powerful, but they underestimate us. That's where you come in. Raylor didn't like the sound of that. How? The Virene ship is one of the few capable of making a direct attack. We need to use its capabilities. Power up your weapons. We'll need every advantage. Linya stepped forward. We've got the weapon systems, but we're not prepared for something of this scale. We need reinforcements. Juno's face showed no emotion. Reinforcements are on the way, but they'll only arrive once you hold them off. Can you do that? Relor hesitated. He didn't know if they could, but one thing was certain. They had no choice. We'll hold them off, he said firmly. The Virene ship powered up its weapon systems, readying itself for battle. Outside, the Xelor fleet hovered like a dark cloud, their massive ships swarming the blackness of space. The enemy fleet moved with precision, as if they had done this many times before. Their weapons were already aimed at the Virene ship, ready to strike. Relor's heart pounded as he watched the stars outside the window. They were the first to move. The human fleet had already launched its attack, but now it was their turn. Powering up weapons, Linya announced, her hands flying over the controls. Doral looked out at the fleet. There are so many of them. How do we fight that? Relor's voice was steady. We have no choice. We fight until we can't. He gave the order. The first blast from the Virene ship's weapons fired, a brilliant flash of energy cutting through the dark expanse of space. The Xelor ships returned fire instantly. Their weapons were deadly, powerful beams that cut through metal like it was paper. The crew scrambled to dodge incoming fire, but Raylor kept his focus. The Virene ship swerved, narrowly avoiding another barrage. The shield generators held strong, but the damage was beginning to show. The ship's exterior shook with each hit. We need to break through their line. Linya shouted, her fingers moving across the console. Their formation is too tight. We can't get close enough. Relor's mind raced. Then he saw it, an opening, a weak point in the Xelor's formation, a gap between two massive enemy ships, barely wide enough for the Virene ship to slip through. Linya, take us through that gap, he ordered. Linya hesitated for a moment, but nodded. Hold on tight. She maneuvered the ship with skill, threading it between the two enemy vessels. The Xelor ships fired at them, but they were too fast. The Virene ship sped through the narrow gap, narrowly avoiding another deadly shot. Outside, the human fleet attacked with precision. Their ghost-like ships darted around the Xelor vessels, dodging fire and hitting hard. The Xelor weren't prepared for the speed and stealth of the human ships. Relor saw the human ships' glowing energy blasts tear through the Xelor defenses. Explosions rocked the enemy fleet, but there were still too many Xelor ships left. They needed more help. Then, out of nowhere, another wave of ships appeared, more human vessels, larger than the first wave. They were powerful, armed to the teeth. They moved into the fray, attacking the Xelor from multiple angles. Relor's eyes widened in shock. Juno's fleet. They've arrived. The battle intensified. The two fleets, human and alien, fought side by side. But the Xelor were relentless. They didn't retreat. They didn't hesitate. Back on the Virene ship, the crew continued to fight. Weapons fired, shields held, and the ship danced through the chaos. Raylor's hands were steady on the controls, but his heart raced. We can't keep this up forever. Doral shouted. They keep coming. Linya's voice trembled. We need to get to safety, Captain. The ship's holding together, but we can't last much longer. Relor clenched his jaw. He wasn't going to retreat. Not now. We fight, or we die. But we fight together. As the battle raged on, the Virene crew held strong. The galaxy would remember this day, the day they fought the Xelor, the day humanity, and its unexpected allies, fought for the survival of all. And though the battle had only just begun, Relor knew one thing: the galaxy would never be the same again. The battle raged on, but the Xalor were relentless. The sky above, once full of stars, was now a dark battlefield. The Virene ship and its human allies were surrounded by the Xalor's massive fleet. Explosions lit up the void as energy blasts tore through space, shaking every ship involved in the fight. Raylor stood at the command center, his eyes fixed on a chaotic battlefield. The Virene ship's shields flickered with each new hit. They couldn't keep this up forever. His crew worked tirelessly, their focus sharp, but the enemy was too strong, and their numbers too great. "We need to end this now," Linya shouted. "The longer we fight, the more vulnerable we become. We need to break through their lines, or we'll be destroyed." Relor nodded grimly. "I agree. But how?" Linya pointed at the tactical display. "There's a weak point in their formation, just beyond the command ship. If we can break through there, we might be able to take down their leadership. If we do that, the rest of their fleet will fall apart." Relor took a deep breath. The plan was risky, too risky, but it was their only chance. He turned to his crew. "Prepare the ship for a full speed run. We're going after their command ship. Linya, get us through that gap. We have one shot." Linya hesitated for just a second, her eyes meeting Raylor's. Then she nodded. "Understood, Captain. We do this now, or we don't do it at all." As the ship powered up, Raylor's thoughts raced. He knew that they might not make it out alive, but there was no turning back. They had to stop the Xalor before they destroyed everything. Meanwhile, on the edge of the battle, the human fleet fought with an unexpected ferocity. Their ships darted through the Xalor lines, almost like ghosts in the darkness, hitting targets with pinpoint accuracy. Juno's fleet was a force to be reckoned with, but even they were struggling against the sheer power of the Xalor. Relor watched as one of the human ships exploded in a burst of flames. The loss was heavy, but it didn't stop them. The human fleet pressed on, pushing the Xalor back, even if just for a moment. Raylor clenched his fists. It was time to act. "Linya, now," he commanded. The Virene ship shot forward, hurtling through space at breakneck speed. The Xalor ships immediately took notice, opening fire. The Virene shields flared under the barrage, but they held. Linya's hands danced over the controls, steering the ship through the narrow gap in the Xalor fleet. The gap was closing fast. The enemy ships were shifting, trying to surround them, but the Virene ship was faster, slipping through the chaos like a needle through fabric. "Almost there," Linya muttered, her voice tight with concentration. Then, with a jolt, the Virene ship broke through. They were now inside the heart of the Xalor formation and directly in front of the command ship, the source of the Xalor's power. It was massive, its dark hull covered with deadly weapons, its engines glowing with terrifying energy. Relor's heart pounded. All weapons, fire. The Virene ship unleashed everything it had. Energy beams, missiles, and charged blasts rocketed toward the command ship, striking it with everything they could muster. The enemy ship shuddered under the assault, but it didn't fall. The Xalor weren't going down without a fight. And then, out of nowhere, the human ships appeared. Juno's fleet arrived just in time, flanking the command ship from all sides. Their powerful energy blasts struck the Xalor vessel, overwhelming its defenses. The command ship tried to retaliate, but it was too late. The human fleet's precision attacks were too much for it to handle. Relor watched in awe as the Xalor ship's shields flickered and then collapsed. Explosions erupted from within as the command ship began to break apart. Then, a message came through the communication system. Juno's face appeared on the screen, calm and focused despite the chaos around her. "We've won, Relor," she said simply. "The Xalor are retreating. Their fleet is breaking apart." Relor's shoulders relaxed. For the first time in days, he allowed himself a breath. They had done it. They had stopped the Xalor. But the cost was high. The battlefield was littered with wreckage, and many ships, both human and alien, had fallen. The galaxy had been saved, but not without sacrifice. The surviving ships regrouped, hovering in the aftermath of the battle. The stars above were still, once again, untouched by the violence that had consumed them. Relor stood at the command center, his crew by his side. He glanced at Linya and Doral, their faces tired but filled with pride. "We did it," Linya said softly. "We did," Relor agreed. They had faced the darkest of enemies and had emerged victorious. But it was not just their strength that had won the day. It was the power of unity, human and alien, working together to fight a common enemy. Relor looked out at the stars, knowing that their fight wasn't over. There would be more challenges ahead. But for now, they had proven that they could face anything, no matter how impossible it seemed. The galaxy had been saved. But more importantly, they had forged a new future, one built on trust, cooperation, and the unshakable belief that no enemy, no matter how powerful, could ever defeat them when they stood together. And as the stars glimmered in the distance, Relor knew that the galaxy would never be the same again.